This is Faye, and then let's have Karen share a little more about your camper, if you would. Faye, go ahead.
Well, I couldn't have been placed in the more perfect role. I was placed as a floater, and in the mornings, I had the privilege of helping one of the ladies who was teaching the mothers in the women's breakout groups. She's paralyzed from the neck down, so I was just assisting her in her arms and her legs. But why it was such a perfect role for me was I wasn't even planning on going to this camp. I've been really struggling with some frustration, and to hear the mothers share, it just renewed me. It brought back that knowledge of why the disability ministry is so important, why the camp is so important. I mean, these mothers, they have so much heartache, so much, they're scared about the future for their kids. There's so much worry there, and to have them share how important the camp is to them, how much they're blessed by the STMs who work with their kids. I mean, they even love just the fact that we cheer when they arrive. We all meet out front and cheer and scream when they come in. And even that small thing, the mothers, it means much to the mothers themselves, not just the kids. So I'm just so glad that I got to be that role, hear the mothers share, be reminded again how important it is, the camp is, and even the disability ministry within the church is, so that we can help those parents out who just day in and day out, like Pastor Jim said, 12 hours is nothing compared to 24/7 that these parents do with these kids. So it was a perfect role for me, and I'm so glad that I ended up going.
Faye, thank you for being the hands and feet of our disability ministry. If you have any questions about our disability ministry, this is the gal.
And if you want to be a buddy, see me.
I'll be your buddy. And if you don't know what a buddy is, ask Faye.
And it's not scary.
It's not scary. All right, Karen, would you step forward there out of the miasma of volunteers? A little farther forward. Farther forward. Another half an inch. Okay. Tell us about your camp. Tell us a little bit, and no names, but just...
Okay, I had the privilege of working with a 41-year-old woman who was in a car accident, and she became, it injured her brain. The whole car, half the car was smashed, and the side that she was on and her daughter was on was okay, but her brain got jarred, and her daughter's skull was fractured. But her daughter was fine, and she has a hard time speaking. She can't move her wheelchair at all, and she basically just lays there and just turns her head left to right. I blended her food and fed her every day, and they are at the point now in their grieving to where they're very angry at what happened. They're very angry at the person that hit her. There's not much help in her town, but we found out that through prayer that there was someone there, that her father lives in their town and is a pastor that goes visiting homes. So now they'll have that support. They gave their email addresses to all different kinds of people. So there is support in their town. They did know it, so now she's going to have support. And it was nice. The last day we had the women broke up into groups, and she got to hear the other women's struggles, and they are also just as heart-wrenching as hers was. And she kind of calmed her down. I could see that it was calming her down a bit, and that she understood that there's other people out there that are also going through trials. And she was sad because she can't hold her daughter. Since she didn't even know she had a daughter when she got hit, she got amnesia. So she didn't even know that she had a daughter, and she worked on a computer, and she had to give the computer back to her work because she couldn't do it anymore. And her husband was downloading files, and in this little tiny file in the corner, he says, "What's this?" And he clicked on it, and she had journaled her pregnancy. So that's how she learned that she had a daughter. So it was...
Karen, can you tell us about the evolution in your relationship with your camper? What happened, or what was like on the first day and what she said on the last day?
Yes, she was very apprehensive of me. She actually didn't want me talking to her husband, but I figured that weekdays later I would talk to him, and as I'm talking to him, waiting for an answer, I would look at her. So I was involving her, so she she calmed down a bit, and then on the last day, I was feeding her, and I noticed she kept looking at me. So I looked down at her, and I stopped for a minute, and she said, "I love you." And she said, "Will you be my girl next year?"
Let's get your husband out here. I've been waiting a year. Come on, Ron. You share today, I can die a happy man.
I should have gone before her.
Yeah, you should have.
Stephen and I were paired up with a little guy, and he had ADD and autism and OCD, and so throughout the time, you know, he would repeat things like, "I don't like green eggs and ham," and then go off to doing something else, and we just had to be totally conscious that he didn't think like us. His mind was like a NASCAR race constantly, and it was just going around and round, and so all the different things he was thinking of were not what we were paying attention to or what we were doing. So when he was done eating breakfast or lunch, he was gone. He wasn't going to sit there. He wasn't going to be patient. And so we tried to involve him in the different activities as much as we could. But when he was no longer able to focus on what we were doing, we had to pick up and go and do whatever he was doing and just try and keep him occupied, try and keep him content. And over the days, we saw a change in him to where he was more comfortable with us, to where he was more at ease with his situation. And it was really pleasant to see his parents, you know, the way that they were able to let go and allow us to take care of him. And they had not been on a vacation or done anything in 8 years since his diagnosis. So he was 10. And it was really nice to get to know them and to, you know, have an understanding of what they go through on a daily basis. And, you know, it was tiring, and it was pretty wiped out at the end. And so it was quite difficult. It was quite difficult.
Thank you, Ron. Hand it to Stephen. Stephen, tell us about the transition.
It wasn't so tiring. This guy couldn't go run 62 miles yesterday. So.
The 62 miles yesterday were hard, but like seeing the parents and what they have to deal with every day was, it was easy, what I did yesterday. Anyway, yeah, it was a great week. Just the fact that Quinn's parents hadn't taken a vacation in 8 years made everything worth it. You know, that's huge to me. I can just pick up and go wherever, whenever I want, and they can't do that. So, but it was just it was a breath of fresh air for me, and I would encourage all of you to go, even if it isn't your thing. It's not about whether or not it's your thing. Taking care of a 10-year-old boy with autism is definitely not my thing. But yeah, so it was a great
Tell us about the mom. You noticed one thing about the mom at the beginning of the week and another thing about the mom at the end of the week.
Quinn's mom showed up to camp just looking haggard and tired and stressed out, and by Friday she was glowing. She was smiling. She looked happy, definitely at ease, and it was definitely a blessing to see that.
That's cool. Okay, somebody else. Yeah, he started yesterday at 5,100 feet, 11,000 feet of net elevation gain, 11,000 feet of net elevation drop. He drove to Willamette Pass right after the camp out, and then slept in his car, ran 62 miles, and then drove home last night. So I don't know whether to admire him or get him a counselor.